Dear brothers and sisters, equality of people is something that we all need to recognize because irrespective of our faith, irrespective of where we're born, and irrespective of our cultures, we all are children of the great family of the Creator God. And to be truly able to understand equality, we need to experience ourselves as we really are. We are souls, we are a part of God, we are full of the light and love of God. And that experience of the soul, realizing that we are soul, happens when we sit in stillness and in calmness. When we look at ourselves, we are very complicated kind of beings. We have many aspects, and very few people focus on the spiritual aspects. And so when we look at ourselves, we find that most people in the world are thinking of themselves either as a physical being or as an intellectual or one with emotions, and forget that behind it all is the spiritual aspect. And so we try to take an image. We look at the physical being of our existence, that has many parts to it. Look at how many organs we have in the body, and the arteries and the veins and the different systems, the breathing system, the digestive system, many systems working in the body. Some of them happen by themselves, like the breathing is coming and going by itself. Some of them work on the basis of what we put into the system. Also, as we look at the intellectual part, we go to school, we enhance our capabilities in the intellectual field, we learn new things. We have memory banks where we save information and it comes out at the right time. And the brain also is in control of other functions of the body. And then we have the emotional aspect of being with others. We could have interactions with close family members and friends. We could have interactions with someone that we don't know. And let's say we find out someone is going through a tough time and we try to help them in one manner or another. And so those emotional aspects are also there. And these are all working in our being. What is happening is that if we are to look at our complex being as being a company, in a company you have many, many departments. You might have production, you might have a PR group, you might have administration, you might have developing things and all kinds of things happening. And each company has like a mission statement of what their purpose is. And then most companies would have like a CEO, someone who's in charge of the whole company. And when people listen to what the mission statement is and work according to that and work in harmony in a company, that company is successful. When different departments start to work on their own and they are not interacting with each other, and they might have forgotten what the mission statement is because now they've got enough people on their own, so they start their own focuses, then the company starts to not do as well, and many, many difficulties come into a company. So there was a company like that which was working well, and it started to go down. People did not like their products. People starting to say the things that are coming out are not good, and so the profit margin was hit. So now the CEO is very worried because he's in charge and he thinks what to do, so he calls a meeting of the department heads. And in the meeting, as he's starting to talk, each department head wants to talk about their own situation. And so rather than listen to the CEO, they're all talking about their areas and what they need and what their people need. And so he realized that this meeting is not going anyplace, so he stopped the meeting. He's thinking to himself what to do, so one of the things that he do is go to a consultant. So he calls a consultant someone who's been running businesses for a long time, who have a consultant service. And when the consultant came in, the consultant, after talking to the CEO, said, "Okay, I like to, talk to the people in the company." And it's going to one department and the second department and the third department, and it's spending time with them and having lunch with them and seeing what they do in the break times. And he realizes that most of the groups are going in different directions. There are many people, instead of being focused on what the mission statement of the company was, were focusing on how do we get more vacation? Can we get Fridays off? What would it take for me to be promoted? And so they're looking for development for themselves. There are others who are like Googling, what is the better place to go on a vacation? Where can I meet people in the evening? And they're focused on the socializing part of it. And then he found there's another group of people who are very critical of what is happening in the company. So they're writing everything down. This is wrong, and this is wrong, and this is wrong. The CEO doesn't know what they're doing. This department doesn't know what they're doing. And they're very analytical, and they're writing everything down. And so they want to take over the company and kind of run the company as they think would be fit. So after spending time with the group, the consultant, has a meeting with the CEO, and he makes the following suggestions. He says, "I think you should have a meeting with the people, or department heads." And so CEO says, "I had a meeting, no one listens to me. They want to do their own stuff." And so the consultant said, "You have a meeting, but you don't speak. You put a screen up, and on the screen you write the name of the company and write the mission statement, and write on this first page, just focus on the mission statement. So as the people come in, let them just look at the mission statement. And so what is it that you want to produce?" And he said, "Give them 2, 3, 4 minutes, just listen, don't say anything." And then change the slide, and when you go to the next one, then you write, what are the benefits of us meeting our mission statement? Let them just focus on that, write the benefit. Benefit number 1, as the company is profitable, all of our salaries will go up. As we all work in harmony, the product that we produce will be liked by the people more. As the company does well, you can get more vacation time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then he said, let them watch that for another 5 minutes or something and put in whatever benefits that you think the people in the company will have. And then he said, take that slide away, put a third slide up, and put 5 words on that slide. And tell them that anything that they do for the company, they should think about these 5 words. And those 5 words were, for success of the company. And he said, let them just think that anything that they want to do should be one in which it is going to be successful for the company and not for an individual and not for a group. And so let them have that sink into them, that whatever their activities are should be focused in what the goal of the company is, what the mission statement is. And the reason I'm telling you this story is our human body is like that too. We have a CEO, our soul, with no one listening to. In a physical body, feels it needs to do things. So we try to change our food habits, we try to exercise, we try to do whatever would be preventive medications. If there's a disease or illness, we try to focus on it. Our intellectual and our mental side are wanting us to be more knowledgeable about our surroundings, knowledgeable about what is happening in the community, knowledgeable about what is happening in the world. And our emotional sides is making sure that we feel good, whether it's through entertainment, whether feeling good is by meeting people or having relationships. The feeling of satisfaction, goodness, that things are working well. And these are all working by themselves. And they've forgotten what the mission statement was. When God created human beings, a part of God was put in the human being to be able to take that being, work and live in this world and have an opportunity to fill the mission statement. And that mission statement was that the soul, which was a part of God, which is a part of God, but has forgotten that it was a part of God, which has gravitated away from God, has an opportunity to go back to God. So that's the mission statement for each and every human being, is to use this lifetime to have the soul merge back in God. And the mechanisms that were provided were to be ethical, to recognize we're all equal, whether we're human beings or animals or fish or bird, that we all are part of creation that God created. We're all one and the same. It's just like our appearances, our outer bodies are different. And so we need to get to that state where we experience that oneness. Yeah. So by being ethical, by being humble, by being able to realize within ourselves our oneness, once we experience that, then it's very easy to put it into all aspects of our being. So the key is to be able to fulfill this mission statement that has been given to us. Unfortunately, we've all forgotten why we are in this world. And we try to be happy, but our attention goes more into these different parts of our being, which are physical and intellectual and mental and emotional, rather than on the spiritual side, which could bring all of these things in harmony. The physical part is working on its own because it's focused on the physical being. The intellectual and the mental parts are focused on their part because they're just focused in that development in that arena, and the emotional part is just focused on emotions. No one's bringing them together, and it's the responsibility of a soul to bring them together. And so the soul needs to get more active. And as Sant Singh Ji Maharaj often talk in his satsangs, we say if a carriage goes, then the horses need to be in front of the carriage to pull it forward. But if the carriage is in front of the horses, the carriage will never go forward. And that's what is happening with us. All of these three areas in our life are pulling us, and we are not letting the soul pull it. So what does the soul do? So its consultant tells it that you need to tell the other parts of the body, hey, we need to have a meeting. So a meeting with the soul is sitting in silence with all these three parts together and tell them, hey, mind, now you're not focused in New York, you're not focused in New Delhi, you're not focused in Australia or someplace else. You be here. If the physical body, this is not the time to exercise or to feed the body, just be here. And our emotions, just this is not the time to focus on our emotions, just be here. And as you collect them, have them close their eyes and focus on the screen within. and let them experience the joy within by also telling them that you need to repeat the 5 names of God, which are given to you at the time of your holy initiation. Because those 5 names are the names of God, and when we repeat them, then we are focused on God, who we want to get, who is what our mission statement is. So we need to get God. This life is given to get God and nothing else. Other aspects of life are there. There's going to be karma that will be passing through. There'll be karma that will create, and those things will happen. But our main aim, our mission statement of this existence is to be getting God, to be one with God. And our focus needs to be there. And so, as that sinks in to all these other members, and their attention gets towards God, the revelations of the divine light and sound will come into their place. And as that happens with a human being, that light, the eternal light, the light from within, is what transforms us to a state where instead of these 3 parts working separately, they start to work in harmony. They realize the importance of getting to our goal. They realize the benefits that if we get to our goal, we are off the wheel of transmigration. If we don't get to our goals, we keep on cycling back again and again and again. And next time we might not be able to get another human birth. Could have another existence. And so this opportunity is a golden opportunity which we want to make use of. And so as we focus on repeating these 5 times, which is like doing a Simran, as our attention goes more towards God, then godly virtues are going to be impregnating each and every part of a being. And as they impregnate each and every part of a being, then the realization on each one of these groups will be the importance of this existence and to be able to get to a goal very, very quickly. The importance of not wasting a single moment, because life is very precious. And it is then that as we live in this world, because this path is a path of positive mysticism, we are not asked to negate this world, that we would find enough time on a daily basis for this meeting to happen, so that regularly, every day, the other parts of the body are recharged with that same information again and again and again. And they realize the importance of trying to go to our goals. And they realize that if we will not be focused on our goals, that we might have to go through much more turmoil, which doesn't make any sense if we can get to our goal in this very lifetime. So the key is to be able to sit in silence and have this meeting with all the parts of a being, and let the soul, which is a part of God, which has been separated from God for eons and eons, which has been picked up by God in this lifetime and given these other 3 parts in the human body to be with, so that it has an opportunity to go back to God. It is said that the human existence is highest in all of creation, because God has given us the faculty, which in the East is called Vivek. That means we can discriminate between truth and untruth, between right and wrong. So that faculty is given in the human beings. And so the soul, which is a part of God, is best equipped to be the CEO of this existence. Because the soul is a part of God, the soul has all the characteristics of God, the soul just needs to be able to take charge. And the soul will take charge when attention will be diverted away from the world outside. If all of our attention focuses on the world outside, then we will be unable to focus on the spiritual aspect of our being, which we need to for us to experience our equality and our oneness with the Creator. So what is very important is to recognize that. What is very important is that even though we're asked to live in the world, that we recognize that this is just a temporary existence for us. The physical body is going to be with us only for a certain number of years. That time is limited. Each and every one of the souls which has come in the human body recognizes that fact. Because if we look at history, everyone who's come in the human body has physically passed away. In these days, it could be 80 years, 90 years, 100 years, 50 years, 60 years, depending on whatever time God felt was right for us. That's the time has been given to us. Our mind, which is focused on our intellectual development, which is focused on taking our attention to the world outside, which is also controlling our emotions, has also been given an opportunity to go back to its true home in this very lifetime. That's where the mind has been put in this human body too. Because the home of the soul is the fifth plane, Sachkhand, and the home of the mind is the third plane. It comes from Brahman and it needs to go back there. Yeah? So this is why the mind has been put in this physical body. Okay? So when the mind gets to a state, when it starts to listen to the CEO, to the soul, then it realizes, hey, with the help of the soul, I also can soar into the regions beyond. And I can reach my goal too. I can reach my home too. Because generally what happens is that as we are cycling to one existence to another, to another, to another, we get enamored by the regions that we are in and we get attached to them. And so it's very easy for the mind to be attached to the outer experiences that we have. It also is trying its very best for us not to be able to get to our goals. But once it realizes that it also is displaced, then only it starts to help us. And the mind is very repeatable. If you give it something, it will keep on doing it again and again and again and again. So if we get it into the habit of focusing on our goal, then it'll help us go to that again and again and again. So if we get to the state where we train the mind, hey, we need to meditate on a daily basis. Whether we meditate once a day or twice a day or 3 times a day or whatever times we pick up, the mind being habitual is going to then help us be able to sit at that time, to be able to meditate at that time. And as that happens, as we get more and more regular in our meditative practices, the experience within, as they start to unfold, bring more joy and more happiness into our life. We feel more fulfilled. And as that happens, then we'll find that life then starts to feel to us if it's worth living. Otherwise, we all seem to be so bogged down by all the difficulties we all have. There are many, many difficulties that come in life. And as we grow, we find that difficulties are a part of life. It's how we deal with them. If we think that they'll always be there, then we'll always drown in those difficulties. But if we think of them as being states which we have to pass through and that they'll fade away, then they'll always fade away, because any difficulty that we go through fades away. And as we connect more and more with our soul, we'll feel the presence of God in our life more and more. And as we feel the presence of God more and more in life, we'll find the support of God to us at all times. And as we find the support of God with us at all times, then there is nothing that is difficult for us, because the support of God brings like fearlessness in our being. There's nothing to fear about. If we experience and if we know and if we realize that God is with us at all times, what is there to fear about? God is the creator, everything's created by God. Even though there might be little ups and downs here and there, but if we know that God is with us at all times, there's nothing that can bother us. And this is why so many people in this world go to their places of worship. Because when we go to our places of worship, we feel the presence of God based on our beliefs. And we feel very comfortable. Okay? But once we realize that God is with us, then we're comfortable all the time. We don't have to go to any place. And then we know that the presence of God is with us. And like one of the poets said very beautifully, if I close my eyes and just bow down, I'm with my eternal beloved, with God. So God can be easily experienced once we train for it. Once we are regular in our spiritual practices, when we meditate on a regular basis, when we are doing Simran, when our attention is on God, then the presence of God can also be experienced. And those who experience the presence of God, and that presence of God experienced through the divine light and sound of God, the two primal manifestations of God, then their life is led very differently. They're not fearful for anything. Many times in life, our parents might get sick, or our siblings might have some difficulties, or our spouses or our children have difficulties, our friends have difficulties. And they could be financial, could be physical, could be mental, could be emotional. We have all kinds of things happen in life. And when it happens so close to us, then we got distraught, because we feel, how can it happen to me? Or how can it happen to someone who's close to me? Not realizing that there are 8 billion people in this world and everyone's going through their karmas. And then something of difficult nature is bound to happen with anyone. But we generally don't realize it. We see it happening to other people. You go to the hospital, you see so many sick people. Okay? It's only when you go to the hospital, you feel, oh God, thank you, I don't have to come here this often. When you see that many sick people, then you realize how sickness can be a part of our own life. And so we as an individual are always feeling, hey, nothing will happen to me. Or people who are close to me, or those that I love, but things do happen. And those who experience the presence of God in their life can deal with it very nicely, without being agitated, without being depressed. And then we all find that whatever difficulty in life is there, it passes away. So to get to that state of being able to recognize God in our lives and know that everything that is happening to us is for our highest good, only happens when we experience God within ourselves. We have listened to it many times. We read it in the scriptures. But it doesn't sink in till we have that experience. Because no reading, no listening can compare to the experience ourselves. And this is why Sant Singh Ji Maharaj often say, like seeing is above all, and it's talking about seeing with the inner eye and listening with the inner ear. That is what the reality is. Everything on the world outside is an illusion. And so we need to cut through that illusion and get to the reality of our existence and realize that we're all one and the same. That we're all equal. in the eyes of the Lord. And that this opportunity that we have, we should never forget our mission statement, which is to be one with God. And we should also never forget that to fulfill our mission statement, what is useful is an ethical life focused on the spiritual practices on a regular basis, and make sure that love flows from us to everyone else, because we're all one and the same. We're all extensions of God. We're all a part of God. There's no one high, there's no one low. And then when we live with that experience, then we bring joy into our communities, we bring harmony into our surroundings, and all good things are bound to come to us. Let us all resolve to focus on our mission statement on a daily basis. Let us resolve that we will not forget what is good for our being. That will be focused on what is good for our being. And when we focus what is good for our being, then we will focus on the spiritual aspect. So that as we meditate daily on a regular basis, that we can experience the divine light and sound. We can find the happiness and joy within ourselves. We can be fulfilled, and then our interactions with others are all loving and calm and peaceful and harmonious. So let us meditate for a few minutes. Please sit as comfortably as you can. Close your eyes very gently, just like you close them when you go to sleep. Your eyeball should be focused 8 or 10 inches in front of you. And as you close your eyes, those of you who have been initiated in mysteries of the beyond, please do your Simran. And those of you who are new here, please repeat any name of God that you feel comfortable with. This repetition of God's name should be done mentally and not out loud. I pray to God Almighty to help each and every one of us connect with the divine power then. And it's my prayer to the three great spiritual masters of the past century, Hazur Baba Sawan Singh Ji Maharaj, Param Sant Gopal Singh Ji Maharaj, and Dayal Purush Sant Darshan Singh Ji Maharaj, to help each and every one of us here connect with the divine light within and experience the divine light in its effulgence. So we'll be sitting for a few minutes. I'll be getting you out of this meditative state, and my best wishes are with each and every one of you. Please leave off.